What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dope and Tape Show, episode 84. And we have Ike. He's on Instagram, Prime2Rise. He's got quite a big following now, and we're excited to have him on. He's a GC. Now, you're not in Boston anymore. Where are you now?
No, so I'm located just south of Fort Myers down in Florida. I moved down here about 3 years ago. So the majority of my career was up in Boston, primarily big commercial work, union work in the city. But for a variety of reasons, just decided to move on down to Florida. Now I'm doing stuff nationally. That's why I get the map over my shoulder there. That's all my projects all over the country.
Well, you brought your accent with you all the way from
Yeah,
Boston.
I feel like it comes in and out, especially if I have a few beers.
Oh, yeah.
Then it gets pretty serious. And I went back recently for a weekend, and it took like a week. Took like a week for it to get back to normal. So
Oh, wow.
That's
Wow.
awesome. It's such a strong accent to have. Appreciate you
So,
coming
yeah, and
on.
I'm pretty sure that's part of the reason that I got my wife. I don't think that she would have been half as interested in me if I just had like a normal accent. So it definitely worked out for me.
That thing is stronger than mine.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
I
appreciate you coming
definitely,
on, and
yeah.
appreciate both of you guys switching up the time and everybody watching it because I got to work. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we tried to fit it in because last time you had to work, we couldn't make it work.
Yeah, yeah.
We just couldn't do it.
Now this
Yeah,
time we got it.
you got a drain down tonight. You got a big
Um,
shutdown.
yeah, we do. We got to go move a couple branch lines. We're gonna move a 2-inch line again, and a couple 1-inch lines. So they said go by the print last time. Go by the print, and you'll miss everything. And we put it to exactly where it wants to be, and it's still into everything. Can you imagine that?
Never heard that story before.
Coordination. Oh shit. All right.
Exactly like the Prince. So I definitely want to get into how you're traveling with your work and everything, but let's
Twitch.
start from the beginning and kind of like your career path. The reason why I want to get the career path and kind of get your story is give options for people who are listening. It's like, hey, you can do this too, as in because you do have to go to college to be a GC in a way, right? Or work for a
So
larger firm, or
I mean, I honestly like I don't think you do. I think if a lot of HR people read your resume, when you're coming out at that age, like 18, 19, 20 years old or something like that, they're going to look for that. But if I look back and I say, all right, does my mechanical engineering degree or did my master's in business administration degree make me any better or worse where I'm at now? No, I don't think it did. Now, one message that I think a lot of young people specifically get, and I don't think it's the right one, is that like, oh, take time to go find yourself and to go find out what you like to do and what you want to do. And you don't really need to figure it out until you're like 30 years old.
right?
I'm an example of why I wouldn't say that that's a good idea. I was very fortunate when I was growing up. I grew up outside of Boston, just like Bobby's got all the 550 stickers behind him. Everything in my house growing up had 537 stickers on it. My father was a 537 pipe fitter. Um, 38 years, something like that. He's down here with me in Florida now, and he
Awesome.
still has 537 stuff all over his stuff. Um, I knew what opportunities were available to me when I was young, and because I knew that, I was able to basically get work experience sweeping floors, scrubbing toilets in a union sheet metal shop, unloading the truck. Then I got in, started doing CAD. I was doing submittals, which most people don't do until their mid 20s. I was doing them at 14, right, for major commercial work.
Oh wow.
So when I talk about where I'm at in my career path, I'm 33 years old. I'm way ahead of the curve, but that's because I got on that curve early,
Because
right?
of because of
And if there's
pops.
because of pops, because I knew the opportunities that were there for me. And did that mean that, I was just going to be a fitter? I was going to go to the school of fine fitting, like my dad said, and work my way up to the sub trades. I thought it did at that time. But since then, I became an engineer, and then I went to the GC side. And now I could go to the owner side if I wanted to. I could go on to commercial real estate. If there's one thing about the construction industry, however you start, that's just the beginning of all the opportunities, and you have no idea what it could blossom into. I mean, we could do an hour on all the different job descriptions at a subcontractor or at a GC or at an
Oh, yeah.
architect. It's endless, right? And I don't think young people understand that.
No, I agree. I mean,
There's a lot of
I don't
spaces on
think
a job
anybody
site for
really
so
knows
many
how deep
different
it
little
goes.
pieces. So many pieces on a job site for it to come together.
Right. And the way I say it is now that I'm a GC, and trust me, my father, and I've seen some of your posts, Bobby. So I know how a lot of the guys in the trades feel and the subs feel about GCs. Like we're just a bunch of idiots with clipboards.
Yeah.
Right. but like
My
we
bad.
know it's all good. I get it. We know this much, and I'm for those of you listening, I'm holding my fingers together like a little bit about a lot, right? Like I know if there's 25 to 30 trades on a job site, I know
A
just
little bit
enough
about
to
every one
run
of them
all of
trades.
them.
Yep.
I'm never gonna know as much about sprinkles as Bobby does, and I don't really want to know,
Right.
right?
Because you'll have a fitter on site who hopefully can guide you and tell you and answer those questions.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
awesome. So I actually that's how I found you was that viral post where you actually mentioned the sprinkler fitters in Boston. Like you actually said that in your reel. That reel went crazy through the sprinkler community.
Yeah, I saw it. Everybody saw it.
Everyone was sharing that. That's
And you know
ultimately
what's
how I found you.
funny is like I don't even think the average bear knows what a sprinkler fitter is. Like
Oh, absolutely not.
Right.
they realize that sprinklers are there, and like when Hocus Pocus comes on every October, they see the sprinkler head go off and like melt all the witches down. But other than that, nobody really thinks about sprinklers, and it's the highest paid trade in Boston.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And a lot of people think
Right.
we're plumbers. Even the
Right.
haters online think that we're plumbers.
Right.
And like some of my family, they just associate all pipes as like plumber, say. And it's a great trade to get into, and there's a lot of space for more people.
Yeah, and I think the one thing about sprinklers and the reason that they're paid so well. I tell kids all the time, whatever you're evaluating for a trade, you can go be a laborer and you can, grab a broom and a shovel, or you can grab a wrench, or you can become an electrician. The trades that pay the highest are the ones that have licenses. And when I say licenses, I'm not talking about you can get a license to be a carpenter. I don't really know what that means. But when you have a license as a fitter or as an electrician or as an HVAC tech, it's typically associated with life safety and you can take responsibility for it. So that's the type of career path, especially when you're going to get a skill in the trades, that pays. So you got to think about the licensing that you can get and the responsibility that you're taking. And
That
that's why
massive
sprinkler fitters, I mean, literally your job is only to save and preserve life and to give people more time.
saving
That
lives.
that's it. That's why sprinkler fitters make so much money.
That's it.
That's it.
And that Massachusetts journeyman, whether it says pipe fitter or plumber or a sprinkler fitter or electricians, I think is so important in the state. That mass
Uh,
journeyman license, because not every state does that.
no, not every state does that. I mean, when you get out of, so now I have 28 projects literally from New England to Vancouver, Sacramento, all the way down to Texas and Chicago, literally everywhere.
Oh wow.
I travel a bit for work, but the professionalism and the craftsmanship in the Northeast it's top notch. It definitely is. New York, Boston, Philadelphia is head and shoulders above a lot of other places for
It's
a reason.
awesome. I love to hear that. I feel like that's how it is. So, do you deal with NFPA 241 at all?
I haven't heard the phrase NFPA 241 since I left Boston.
Right.
But
That's
I have,
what we've been hearing.
It's crazy.
it's so funny because when I was working in Boston, it's like all we talked about. It was just like a hot topic at all times. And you had to have the book on site fully filled out that God forbid if the inspector ever came on site. And I honestly feel like half of them are just blank. It's just blank sheets of paper with like a cover sheet on it. They just want to see the book there.
That's
Right?
it. That's crazy.
But but yeah, it's funny. I haven't seen that. I mean, you still see NFPA 72 and 13 when you go in through inspections because that's just like a final inspection thing. But
Right.
I haven't even heard the phrase 241 outside of Boston.
Man, so
I
we got to
would
change
say
that.
that's a great. I think they
Excuse
use
me for one
it a
second.
little bit in New York.
Yeah, and it's been a bit since I've worked in New York. My projects right now are primarily anything but Manhattan because the company that I work for, they got big juice there and they don't need it. I'm client facing pretty much everywhere else. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I got so you were a fitter, right? And
No,
then
so my father was a fitter, and
your
I
dad
was
was a
signed
fitter.
up. I was signed up for 537 to go to the school when I was 18, and my dad said, "Oh, go to college, try it out.
So
If
you
you want
went
to
the
get in."
engineering route.
Yeah, so I went the engineering route. I came out. I was working. Actually, like when you come up to the airport and you see the rental car facility on the right, So when I was 19, I laid out all the sprinklers, plumbing, and HVAC in that building. Because I was basically, when I went to college, I pushed off all my classes at night, and I was working during the day for, at the time, the company was called Parsons Brinkerhoff. They're now WSP, if you ever see those guys on drawings. Talk about coordination. How much I was able to coordinate that building when I was 19, I'm not sure, but it hasn't burned down yet. So I think I did all right.
Yeah.
It's been
That's
like 10
awesome.
years. So
Oh man.
When did
So
you
you
move out of
went-
Boston?
July 2020.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
Recently.
Yeah, came down to Florida. You know, the other thing it's funny that I would say with a career in construction, especially where you have a trade, right? Because you're getting, like, I don't necessarily have a trade skill. I mean, I have my HVAC license down here, but I don't use it. But my skill as a construction manager, like when you get a career or a skill in construction, you can move anywhere, literally anywhere in the world, and there will be people that need you and that want to pay for you. I've moved to California for a while. I was living in New York City for a while, New Jersey, back to Boston for 5 years. My wife and I, you know, that's where we were at the beginning of our marriage. We did like the Southie yuppie thing, you know, where we lived there. We were doing brunches and stuff for 5 years. And then now it's like, okay, we gotta get a little more serious here. We gotta start a family. So
Yeah.
we went down to Florida. You know, the grandparents and stuff are down here. So
Oh, that's cool.
it's been good. But everywhere that I've gone, I throw the resume out there. You know, just shotgun spray. Go on Google. You know, first 10 companies, and I get 3 offers right away. It's never been a
Wow.
problem.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Where were you parking in Southie?
Where was I parked? So I got really lucky. Long story short, you always got to be nice to people. And I was shoveling my neighbor's driveway because they were older, much older than me, and they had like a woman in her late 80s living downstairs. Well, when the woman in the late 80s had to go into the nursing home in Southie, they said, "Oh, how much can we get for this apartment?" And I'm like, $3,000. I can't afford that. They gave it to me for $2,000, and it had a parking space behind it. So
Wow.
they got offered at the time, I want to say it was like $48,000 for the year for the parking spot, and they said no, like my
What?
tenant needs that. Yeah, they denied it because they wanted to give it to me because
A
they
parking spot? Y'all are over here fighting for parking spots?
Bro, that's why I asked, because you can't park.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to park in Southie. It's a $90 ticket if I'm going to Southie. Guaranteed. I'm going to
That
Southie, I'm getting
sounds
$90 ticket.
terrible.
and you
Yeah.
probably just pass them onto your project manager's desk, right? And he
No,
just pays for them.
I put the wipers on in the Mass Pike
Yeah,
and delete it. No, we got like
Delete.
this. I think they got like a stipend, you know, like because we got so many vans in the city. However that works, but
It's just the cost of doing business. I mean,
that's in the city.
it's always how it's been.
I stopped in Atlanta, just on the side of the street, down in Midtown for some cookies. I went in there, came out, met some friends. We sat outside at some chairs outside of, and I came back. The ticket person got me, man. Hey, they're
Wait,
fast.
You're saying Atlanta or Atlantic Ave?
In Atlanta,
He's from Atlanta.
Midtown Atlanta.
Oh, I was gonna say because when I saw the hat, I was like, wait a minute, did he just say Atlanta?
Yeah.
So you're not from Boston.
No.
Yeah, we met on Instagram.
okay.
He's a second generation fire sprinkler inspector out of Atlanta.
Mhm.
The
Okay.
third generation fitter out of Boston, and we were like, let's start a podcast.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
What a world we live in. Huh?
Long distance
Right.
relationship.
Yeah, very long, which is good. If I know some of the listeners have seen us together at the trade shows, and it's probably good that we have this distance.
Yeah. We just bicker the whole time.
We just about to.
I'm telling
for
him
people
to hurry up.
watching this, it sounds-
Everywhere we go, I'm like, dude, hurry up. Like walk fast, drive faster, start the car. And he's like, dude, just fucking chill. I'm like, fucking go. Why didn't you start the car yet? He's like, well, I'm gonna get the GPS going. I'm like, oh my god, I'm driving next time, kid. It's just two different speeds trying to. I think he slows me down a bit and I speed him up a bit. We kind of complement each other.
Do you have a lot of the same bumper stickers then from the trade shows?
Yeah, I got all kinds of stickers from the trade shows.
I know you do. I mean, I'm looking at them and I'm like, first of all, half of them I've seen like from my childhood, like the WAAF,
WAF, yeah.
WAAF rocks. And
Oh.
then other ones, I mean, the I put out one is, I mean, I've seen some stickers I've never seen I put out.
The
I like
best.
it.
That's shout out to Sprinkler Life. I had
Yeah, I love it.
I had a job trailer on one of the big Turner job. You know, there's 500 guys on site, and I got that. He makes a 10-inch sticker like that, and I put it on my office, my office door,
I love that.
and that's it. They let it fly, even Turner themselves, because I was like, I might get in trouble for this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm
But
gonna
it's
try.
worth it.
It's worth it, yeah.
We're here to have fun. I mean, I tell young people that all the time. Like, if there's one thing you know about the construction industry, it's work hard, play hard. I mean, you meet some of the funniest people. I mean, I was gonna say dudes, but I don't want to throw a gender on it. But let's be honest, it's mostly guys in the field, right?
Yeah.
And it's aside from getting a ton of work done, it's a ton of laughs. Love going to the diner with the guys. I love going to the bar with the guys afterwards, after work, and just hanging out. And I guess it's also the people that I grew up around, so I'm used to it. But man, I got some of the funniest stories to share with people from stuff that happens on the job.
Oh yeah, we've all seen hilarious
Love me
things.
a good breakfast joint.
Sometimes it's good. Like if you watch a good situation that's just hilarious or just crazy, like you just stop work. Even like if you're a helper and the foreman sees it too, everybody's just like watching. It's a great time out.
Oh,
At all
Paulo,
times. And
all right. We're gonna do some comments. Eric, Florencio, Paulo. I see Isaac. What's up, everybody? So Paulo says, greetings from Brazil. We almost met in Vegas. Almost, bro. You should have came. You should have. We need to meet. We didn't. If you've
Yeah,
seen
he
us, you
brought
have
his
to say hi.
he traveled with his wife and then he came the day he went to the show is the day we were leaving.
Oh,
Like I was at the airport.
Paulo.
Yeah.
We're gonna meet next time, Paulo. Oh, Isaac, what's going on? Isaac from Las Vegas. It's my dude. Pick me up. Need a blowout Bobby sticker. The blowout Bobby stickers are not gonna happen. Paulo says, appreciate your job. Let's see. We got any comments down here? Oh, I see Darian on.
I got a comment. How many
Twitch.
Red Wings do you got retired behind you right there?
These
You
are
keeping those?
those are my Thorough Those are my old work. Those are the ones I wore to work until Brunt started hooking me up with some new Brunts. And those are my ones that I would wear out. If me and the old lady go out, if I'm going somewhere, I wear my Thorough. But now I think I'm a Brunt guy now.
Okay.
Yeah, Brunt's been a great supporter of us.
Yeah, they tossed me some boots early in my growth, like when I got like 8,000 followers or something. But then I asked them if they wanted to give him boots, and we would wear them to the conference, and they would be in our videos, and they were like, no questions asked. They just sent them. So, and we wear them on the expo floor. We're like the only ones out there in boots. So it's
Okay. I might have to get myself a pair.
it's pretty good for both of them. We got a promo code DNT10. You can save $10. So
DNT10, save $10.
and
There
I
you go.
would-
You have it right there.
and I would recommend getting the unlined.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in Florida or you're moving around. Like I wear
Do
the
yourself a favor.
Do you... Yeah, they just don't have
What
a
does it
line.
make it like a bath for your feet?
They don't have a liner in them. So if you don't specify unlined, you're gonna get more of like a winter boot.
There's also more
Okay.
flex with the unlined too.
I like the unlined.
Yeah, I might have to
in the
go
winter.
online. I think having spent so much time in Boston, even if it's like 3 degrees out, my feet are still like puddles.
Yeah,
Like especially if you have any kind of like waterproof shoe or anything like that.
locks it in if you get a little bit of good blood flow.
Can't have that. I got a heavy flow.
Bobby's a
Can't have it.
big Brunt guy. Yo, Brunt's been good to us. Thank you, Brunt.
Yeah, it's in his shirts and hats, and
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean it's been really great. So you got out of college, and then your first move was a GC immediately.
Yes, no, it was not. So I got out of college with a mechanical engineering degree. Again, I grew up in the mechanical background, right? Like my dad was a mechanical sub. My plan was always to try to work my way up as a subcontractor, but I was under the impression that if I had my license, my stamp, my PE stamp, that I could do that quicker. So when I got out, I moved to California, and one of the bigger not GCs, one of the bigger mechanical subs out there, they do like almost $1 billion a year because they got San Francisco, LA, San Diego. There's like 5 major markets that are way bigger than anything in the East Coast under one company.
Wow.
So I went out there and I was doing design build stuff, basically on the front end doing the design, and then throughout the construction project, I was almost like an APM for the sub, right? So I was on site coordinating with the GCs and yada yada. Then I moved to New York, for what some people would call the wrong reason, right? I moved to New York for a woman, and and I at that point in time I interviewed with 3 mechanical subs, and I had offers from all of them, but somebody came in over the top, heard that I was looking, and they said, "Hey, listen, let us get last crack," and the number just blew everybody out of the water. So then I disappointed my father. I went over to the general contractor side, and have been there ever since. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's been a good niche for me, and I think it's unique for me being on the GC side with somebody with a mechanical background, because most people, when they go into the GC world, especially from the sub world, they either go to the GC world from college with zero experience, so they know nothing, or they go in from like the carpentry trade, the drywall guys, and they know that stuff, and they might be able to understand an architectural detail or like a door detail, but they have no clue what's going on with overhead coordination. They have no idea how to vet any kind of infrastructure that comes in a submittal or anything like that. They don't know what a GPM is, a CFM is. They don't
So
know
true.
their ass from their elbow. No pun intended on an elbow fitting. But I've always played that to my strength because I knew something that nobody else knew, right? So
Mechanical
like I
aspect,
said,
that's great.
the path is windy. You turn around, it looks straight as an arrow, but you just keep the doors open. And there's no better industry to get into to open doors than the construction industry, and I stand by that 100%.
I totally agree. And when
But now you're traveling,
I see
right?
that firsthand with laborers working all their way up to being a super, and carpenters working their way all the way up and
Mhm.
becoming a super. And the GC company will take them on, and usually they're union, so they'll pay their union book, and they'll still be like a union carpenter, but
Mhm.
they're like the super.
And it's funny what I'd like to see more of, and I don't understand why nobody does it. Probably because we can't be as competitive as some of the electrical contractors. But I'd love to get an electrician on my end because there's only one trade that's there at the beginning and there at the end, and it's the electrician.
They
And
touch everything,
they the only trade that touches everything other than the GC. And for some reason, we don't recruit there,
right?
but
Or
I'm
pipe
going to at
trades,
some point.
or pipe trades either. Like the big
Any
GC,
mechanical
like
trade.
pick up a sprinkler guy and have him be the super.
Yeah. Do
You
you
know.
think you're not recruiting there because the wages for the electricians?
I mean, it could be. I think it's difficult to convince anybody to leave the trades. Number one, because they don't like a GC. Number two, because they know their corner of the job and they don't
They're
need to
comfortable.
know anything else, right? They're comfortable
Comfortable.
with where they're at. For whatever reason, it is a little more appealing to the drywall guys. And it's probably because it's a step up in pay. Whereas it's hard to take a step up from somebody that's what was this? What was the stat that I said? 136 grand a year
Yeah,
for a union guy in Boston for a sprinkler fitter. Like that's tough to compete with when
Absolutely.
they still have a lot to learn once they get in the door to again cover this much about this much as opposed to having this much depth in sprinkler work.
right. Yeah, it makes sense.
No, I agree. And okay, so let's see here. I want to talk to you about your viral post that went out. So, talking about, I believe, so you mentioned the wages
Mm-hmm.
in Boston, the highest wages, and then how much they're getting paid in the union. And then you also mentioned what is it, average pay um after out of college, and then how much.
So yeah, so there was two posts. The first one was the stat about people leaving the industry. So for every 7 people that retire or die in construction, whether it's somebody pushing a broom, a sprinkler fitter, a GC, whoever, only one comes in.
Hmm,
Again, 7 going out, only one going in. That means that
that's awful.
in 20 years, for if we have 100 people, we're only going to have 57. 20 years after that, we're only going to have 14. Right? So
Fuck.
supply's going like this, demand's going like this. If you're going to invest in a career, construction's the way to go. Now, with the average salaries of people coming out of college, I personally think that it's really in like the $40,000, $45,000 range. If you look up stats online, just like quick Google search and on College Simply or Zapier or whatever, it'll say up to, you'll see as high as 55,000, right? Now, $55,000 may or may not be a good salary to some people. I mean, the poverty line is way below that. So I think the average American makes less than 50. So that does seem high. But when you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars and you have a huge loan out for 30 years into your 50s, that's not a return that you're getting back. Like that's not worth the squeeze.
Mm-mm.
And from most people that get those jobs or that get jobs out of college, I mean, I'm 33. I would say if I picked 100 people that I went to high school with, I would say less than 20 have a job that was associated with their degree. So it's useless anyway, right? Now, the biggest chirp that I get for a lot of people is, oh, you go to state school, you can go to community college, you can go to this, you can go to that. And it's like, okay, well, what's the average interest rate on a loan, on a student loan? It's 6.54%. Okay.
Jeez, that's
If you have an
wild.
$11,000 tuition with an interest rate of 6.54%, and you have that over 30 years for the lowest monthly payment, that will still cost you over $100,000 at the end of the day. Okay,
That's
so when people
nuts.
chirp me back and they're like, college doesn't cost hundreds of thousands, this guy's exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating.
Takes
And go try
forever.
to get a college education for 11 grand a year. Not gonna happen.
Takes
Not anywhere
forever
that
to
you want
pay
to go.
off too, because they give you such a long loan and that interest rate.
Well, and
And people just pay the
it's just
minimums because
people go to pay
they're not earning enough at their job. Because then, so what I seen is that is the same thing. You go to college, you get all this college experience, these degrees, then you get out, but no one will hire you because you have no experience on the job.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you don't have a skill that you can sell people. Like if you go to school for a business degree, what do you know how to do? Take an economics exam? You don't know how to do shit. Right. You're going to go sit in a cube farm and crunch numbers and enter data. Right. You don't know how to turn a wrench. You don't know you don't know what a GPM is. You don't know what any of these things are. You don't know anything that's useful for anybody. But a lot of these schools like UMass, you want to go to UMass? I think it's $57,000 a year out of state tuition. Right. So that's $228,000 just for that, and that's not the end loan price. Like at the end of the loan, you're probably paying over 500, but the monthly payment on that is like $1,500-$1,600 or something like that a month. That you should own a house for that.
Yeah.
What's really interesting, actually, down by you, Brian, is out of all the schools, and you can go on my website Prime2Rise.com, and I have another website starting on Monday, constructionmentor.org. Georgia Tech, by far and away the greatest return on investment, especially if you live in the state of Georgia, that I can see in the country. By far and away. It's just insane. And then, people want to argue about student loan forgiveness and whether or not it should be free and yada yada. And it's like, guys, you got to understand, you got to understand something. That's the second question, whether or not it should be free. The first question is, why is it so damn expensive?
Yeah.
And it's because it's the only loan that the bank has no risk on. You don't have to have a credit history. You don't have to have proof of income, a proof of return on investment.
Right.
The bank can literally let you sign up for any amount of money. We saw it in the housing crisis in 2008, and you have to pay it back. You can't declare bankruptcy. The only way that you can get out of it is you can die.
Fucked up.
The bank has no risk. So the schools, if the schools get to charge whatever they want, because they know that we can get the money
so
for it.
It's been going up, and it keeps going up, and it will continue to go up as long as it is that way.
100%.
You still should have to qualify for a loan. It still should be a regular loan. My bird is fucking screaming right
now. Whereas, opposed to if you go into a trade and you go to trade school, or you go into a union where they force you to go to a trade school. And that's the other thing everyone chirps me about. It's like, oh, you don't make that starting out. You don't make 136 grand a year starting out as a sprinkler fitter, or, it's all slave wages, yada, yada, yada. It's like, yeah, okay. You don't make that year one, you make that in year 5. I'm sorry. You got paid probably $40, $60, $70, $80,000 a year to get paid to get the education and not be in debt on your way to making $136,000 a year before overtime.
No,
my God,
exactly.
like guys, come on. Like, did I have to spell that out for people? Apparently I did, because I have thousands of messages and DMs of people complaining about that.
But also high schools are not pushing this. They push college. You have to go to college. You're not going to college, you're stupid. Why? This is crazy.
You can't make it if you don't go to college. That's what they told me when I was in, back in my day when I was in high school. Feels like it was not that long ago, but it was pretty long.
I will say it's very interesting. I've spoken I started my organization and my program because I mentor high school kids for the last 10 years. And I just wasn't having the impact that I thought that I could. So I wanted to take it, to the interwebs. I don't hear the same messaging in Florida. I've spoken at probably 10 schools. I'm supposed to speak at 16 this fall. And I do not hear the same messaging down here that I did up in Massachusetts or New York.
So what is the message?
The message is, go to school. If you're going to go to school for something that pays, go to school for science, technology.
Who's saying that?
Engineering, or go into a trade. No, down in Florida.
Oh,
like the teachers? That's the schools pushing?
Yeah.
That's great.
That's why they have me come. That's why they have me come in. And when I say what I basically just said to you guys, they say, haven't we been telling you? Like
Yeah.
The answer is probably because they're just too soft up in Mass. So you had to come down to the South, and the Southern guys, the Southern men and women can handle that.
You got that backwards, kid.
It could be, and that maybe that's why all the kids down there have the Florida mullet. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
kids
the
don't
Florida
have,
Do they
kids
all
don't
have a
that up in
mullet down there?
Massachusetts. A lot. I coach youth football. A lot of kids have
Oh,
mullets down here.
geez.
A lot.
Yeah, that's not. You don't see that in Massachusetts. You're standing out. Like it's like having a mustache is having a mullet.
Well, in Mass,
like,
you'll
it's
get
rare.
made fun of for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, you get made fun
You
of.
get made fun of for everything.
But I
And,
mean, you get made fun of for having a flannel and a beanie down here. So it's
yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah,
it's
that's
all.
true. It's like when we're together, bro. I just make fun of you the whole time. That's what it's
Bobby,
like on
did
the
you
job
just get
site.
upset? Did you just get upset because you wear flannels and beanies?
No, I got a fucking stack of flannels right here. But I usually keep the hat on though.
You do the no beanie. I mean, I can just imagine you
I
in the
got
flannel
I got a
beanie
bag I got a bag of beanies. It just I don't
Yeah.
know.
and the
My
boots.
head gets itchy with the beanie.
That's trendy.
I'll rock the beanie and the flannel. That's what you want to see, Bri?
I mean, you can wear whatever you want, man. I don't care.
That's
As
great.
long as you fix your mustache,
It's pretty good, kid.
Yeah,
Sh-
sometimes
I shower
think I
with this
told you
thing.
this, but sometimes like when your mustache,
Yeah,
like,
when we're
the
that's
bottom
called
part
that's
like
called
goes to your
Freebird.
lip, I'm
That's
like,
called
bro, fix
Freebird,
that.
kid.
So you
Get that
don't
out of
use
your
any. So you don't use any beard oil or anything like that, right? That's just sprinkler water, right
Yeah,
there.
that is just sprinkle
Sprinkle
water. I let it
water.
run right down, kid. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
for those of you who don't know, when sprinkler water comes out of a pipe, it is black. It is black at night,
Black and
and
smells
that's
wonderful.
usually when I was young, that was the initiation. You had to take a shot of sprinkler water
oh shit.
when you came on site.
Oof.
No, I'm just kidding. You get legionnaires or
I
something from that.
I love the GC. Like they'll see you and they're like, "All right, man, just like don't make a mess." And I'm like, "Who are you? Like, you think I'm gonna catch every drop, dude? This isn't a new floor. This is concrete. You're gonna put floor over it." They're like, "Just don't spill
Don't
a
ruin my
drop."
layout lines.
Yeah, don't put it on my layout lines. I make a mess when I do demo. Like I get, just that's part of the job. You want me to do slow demo? It costs more. That's what I tell them.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, white glove demo should cost more.
Yeah, if I can't spill a drop, that needs to cost more because demo is demo, baby. I'm cutting it. There's water in it. Get ready. Hey, we need a couple extra laborers that day.
I could tell I'd love to have you on one of my job sites. Too bad I'm not up there right now.
Let's do it.
No, I feel like GCs on like large projects, they always walk around like they're about to lose their mind. Like they're just
Because they
stressed
are.
out.
Because they are, dude.
Just
Yeah, so,
just
I
pop
mean,
the second Valium or whatever just to get through the day. Like
Well, you got to think like on the average job, like a core and shell job, not even a big one, but a small one. You have over 30 trades. So if you, Bobby the sprinkler guy, has your set of problems, you got 30 of those people coming at you.
Oh,
Right?
it's
So
a
like
trickle
trial by
effect because
fire.
my problem might affect but everybody down the line. You holding up one trade and then you go back with just weeks. Like that 1 week just puts everybody back.
Right. And I think the toughest part about being a GC is a lot of people, they got caught with what's right in front of them. It's like playing football and you got the defensive lineman running at you and you're trying to dodge tackles, but you're not looking downfield. You know what I mean? And you just got the next wave coming, the next guy coming, and you just can't even get your eye in the end zone to score. You know what I mean?
And
It's
I know
tough.
as a sub, it's like if there's one little problem, like you got to call the super and tell them, let them know this is fucked up. I'm up on 12 and this is not the way it's supposed to be.
So the biggest thing I try to tell people is it's all like in your approach, right? Like I don't like a lot of the way a lot of people on my end speak to a lot of the subs. It's like it's like a prick measuring contest or a pissing contest, right? Like you should always try to bring value to people, right? So when I look at subs, I want subs to see me as somebody that can make them money, right? Like my job is to literally enable them to do their job as efficiently as possible, get out of here and make money so that when my hair is on fire or I screwed something up, I can be like, hey, Bobby, I need you to fucking save me here.
Yeah, right.
Because I need it and I don't know how to save myself.
I got you.
You know what I mean? But if I'm always trying to bring that value to other people, like I can, in 10 years, there's a short list of subs that I've had a bad working experience with. And I think that's honestly because of the mentality that I try to take to them. And the same thing when I'm looking at a sub, are they just bringing me problems or are they bringing me solutions?
Right.
You know what I mean? And how are they bringing it to me? Is the sky always falling? Or is this somebody that is this somebody that I can look at as an extension of
Some
myself?
guys are like that,
Somebody
man.
Oh, they're all like that, and it comes from this like complex of like everyone needs to know how busy I am and how important I am and how tough my job is,
They want to
and
call
it's like
everybody.
like dude, like I need people that like I can trust and work with, and that will bring the important stuff to my attention, and
That's
that's
it.
why I mean, especially when I was in Boston, if I went to Boston tomorrow and I called all my old subs back, I can give you like a list of 5 or 6 foremen that I would almost guarantee would be on my job just
Yeah.
because. And I've actually pushed subs to be awarded that weren't even the low guy because I was like, listen, on this job, I need
I hear that a
Sean
lot.
Murphy.
I've
Sean
been
Murphy. I'm just grabbing a random Boston name right this point here.
Sean,
Sean Murphy. No, nobody can know who I'm talking about in Boston if I say Sean Murphy.
fucking 20 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, there's a lot of similar names up here.
Oh,
Do you
it's
have
very ancestral, especially in the trades.
any crazy sprinkler stories of guys in your job
Oh
sites?
yeah, what's up with the flood story? You got to have one good
Yeah,
one.
I mean, most of my sprinkler and flood stories are
it
guys like
probably
turn.
happened in
Down in
Boston,
Atlanta,
right?
down in Georgia, right?
Not
So the
not
um
not one.
Fucking bastard.
the biggest issue that I've ever had are fittings going off in the middle of the night from guys cranking them too tight,
Ooh,
like brass fittings, kind of like cracking and you didn't know, and then all of a sudden I get a call at 2 in the morning and
it's pissing
stuff
everywhere,
is
and it
flooded.
finally just made the puddle.
Yeah,
That's the worst
it
call.
or more than a puddle. Um, uh,
That's why you have to use
I,
dope and tape.
yeah. so so I don't have a funny sprinkler water leak story that comes to mind, but two things one story that I do have, and then one piece of advice that I would give. I had a sprinkler guy one time on a job site in New York, and he went around and he was putting the sprinkler heads on the floor, like he thought that he was the only one there, and he was laying them out for whatever reason. And
Uh,
it was almost like a cartoon where the guy was somebody's putting breadcrumbs or snacks down
what guy's throwing it
as
away?
like a trail,
What guy's
and the freaking laborer was coming and he was scooping them up and he tossed them, and then they
Oh,
toss and then and then and then they tossed it and the guy absolutely lost his mind
On the floor, out the door. You can't put
on the
shit on the
floor
floor
out.
on a union job, man.
Oh no, on the floor out
On
the
the
door.
floor, out the door. Dude's got his broom. If he's something on the floor, they're picking it up,
So
bro.
again, in New York, I had a guy, the tin knocker. He wrote "save" on a piece of tin, a big main, duck main,
Hell
and he
no.
put it on the ground. And the laborer threw it out, and he threw it out with a smile on his face, like total smartass. Like you know how some of the trades can be sometimes, right? Like, and the guy's like, "What the fuck? Like who threw that out? I wrote "save" on it." And he's like, "Save? I thought you wanted that over on Fifth Ave. I took it out and I took it's over on Fifth Ave. You can go pick it up. It's on the corner if you want." And the guy like absolutely lost it. Like they almost like threw down over it. Um, but what I always do tell people is that you got to have a water mitigation plan, and you got to have your kitty litter. You got to have a 55-gallon bucket. It's got to be covered in plastic. You got to have a wet vac, and you have to have a plan with a sprinkler key above the plan with it totally mapped out so everyone knows where both of your drain down points are, usually in both staircases, right? So that like when the shit hits the fan, somebody put their mouth on the leak, right? Stop it from leaking and start swallowing. And then somebody else grab the key and go and shut it down.
That's big now, is the spill kits.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so that's actually one of the things that I'm gonna have on my website is just a checklist, like free. You
It
can have
comes in.
it.
They
I
usually
just
put it in the biggest barrel you can get on wheels, and it's got the kitty litter, but it's like in a tube. My partner
yeah,
recently pulled a live head at in the basement of Beth Israel, and
really.
yeah, so I'm coming back from the van, and the horns and strobes going off. I'm like, man, that's fucking bizarre. I usually don't hear that in the hospitals, and I just walk in, I can just see the panic in
Never.
the crowd. I'm like, so everyone, but the laborers like in Boston, they just right away spill kit. They blocked all the doors, right? They got the 200-gallon buggy under the leak, and he's throwing it to this guy
Yeah.
who's dumping it, and they just got the buggies in rotation while we run around and try to shut the valves off and trying to put the oh shit valve in there.
Yeah, I've never had a bad sprinkle leak other than something that happened in the middle of the night like that, but I've got plenty of plumbing ones. And the young guys or some of the older supers that are just like go, 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 fly by to the seat of the pants, kind of like, messy nose breathers. They don't listen until it happens. And then I'm like, I told you to have the kit. Like it's the people that don't have it that always end up feeling the pain. And people don't realize like, dude, you get a sprinkler head going. Only takes a couple minutes to cause a couple $1 million of damage.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Damn right. That baby's pumping
Like,
out
Yeah.
some GPMs.
oh yeah, big time.
The water damage is so serious. I mean, it causes so much damage to everything, including especially if it gets in something that's electrical. It's just it's a mess. And
Well,
maybe that's another reason why, they're paid more. It's not just life safety, but you're dealing with water
A lot of
and
water.
water control essentially.
yeah, it's an insurance policy, really. I mean, like you want people that know what they're doing, and you want professionals, and I think you get that. Like, there's definitely differences in between the North and the South, right? And in union cities and non-union cities. I think that's one of the reasons that the unions get paid so much is that you have a guaranteed level of education from all the guys there. Whereas down in Florida, I might have 10 guys on site, but I might only have one who knows what they're doing. The rest are like, I was
Yeah.
told to do this.
Yeah,
Well,
So
here
exactly.
in Georgia, I mean, two scenarios. So a guy could only have like a year of experience and they're like, "Oh, no, he's good. They give him a truck. He's out there, he can run anything." And then also like if you have a transfer, let's say a guy comes from Boston and he's never done it, but he said, "Oh, I have this experience passes um the interview process. Now he has a truck." Like
Yeah,
there's
if you're in a
no
union up in Boston and you get a truck before you're a journeyman, like your dad is the owner or you know someone in the
yeah.
local, because like you generally got to wait at least till you get your license and then prove yourself to get a truck. But
Hmm.
also at the same, I started non-union and we got trucks. We got trucks as second year apprentices, and you were kind of sent out, to go do your thing, not really knowing what to do. So it's kind of both worlds. Just fucking giving out trucks to kids.
Yeah.
I remember the
I
first
don't get a
truck I
truck.
got. I was such a kid.
I don't get a truck. Fortunately, what's funny is like I put on 40,000 miles in like 2 years on my truck down here when I was doing GC work down here. And now since I've been traveling for work, because I moved to somebody national, I think I've only put like 1,500 miles on it in 8 months.
Because you're
So
flying
now
more
I only leave my house to go to the airport.
to the airplane.
So how does that
Pretty much.
work
A
where
lot of
you're
flying, huh?
traveling all over the place? Because a lot of people would like be interested in that.
Yeah. So I think 2020 changed the game for a lot of people in a positive way. When I was up in Boston, I was working for a GC and, I wanted to move. So I said, hey, I'm going down here. They said, you got to take a pay cut, yada, yada. I moved down to Florida, took a minimal pay cut after taxes. I took home more money. But they called me about 9 months ago and they said, hey, new situation. We can work from home. We need somebody that we trust to be an executive and be that face to clients. So I manage 28 project teams. I have 28 project managers and supers and everything.
Oh, wow.
And I have the face to one client right now that's about to expand. My role's about to change. But basically, I'm an account, or some companies would call it a project executive. So I'm the face of the client. I negotiate the contract up front, vet all the scope, buy everything out, get everything set up, with the guys. And then I'm executive oversight. So I meet with everybody once, twice a week on Zoom. I fly out if there's a problem. I try to sniff out the problems or the things that I don't think guys are doing correctly, right? Or if I get worried about something or something doesn't sound right, I'll challenge them. And I really just make sure that, the ship is going in the right direction for our client from a, high level, executive oversight position.
It's incredible.
So anybody, and I feel like with the national GCs, especially, more and more positions like that are coming up. Like you guys mentioned, you work with Turner. Everybody knows Turner. Everybody knows Gilbane, and all those companies. And I could almost guarantee that they have similar opportunities, or if not those opportunities where you could relocate for a project temporarily. Go try out living somewhere. Suffolk is expanding big time. Every time I turn around, Suffolk has a new office popping up somewhere. Suffolk's big down here. They have an office right down the street from my house.
A good super that I was working with, was able to relocate to California, like no questions asked. She wanted to
Yeah.
go live out there in Suffolk, and she got it. They were like, all right, you're gonna go work at this project, and the whole nine. There, I was on a Suffolk job today.
The big thing is like there really is labor shortage. I hate the term labor shortage. There's not a labor shortage. But there is a talent shortage big time, especially when you get out of the Northeast. And a lot of companies, like if a Suffolk has a California office, or if Gilbane has a Florida office, or whatever, they love when people leave
The
the
Northeast.
Northeast and go other places because there's a different pace.
Because we are
There's a different
valuable. You
pace
hear
to
that,
it.
Bry? It's
It's
faster.
listen, it's true. Now, where people fail when they come out of the Northeast is
And
they
everything.
still think they're in the Northeast.
Yeah, so
And a lot of people in the South hate the Yankees, right? So like, you can't come down here with some attitude like you're
faster.
God's gift to construction, and you're smarter and faster than everybody. People won't take kindly to it. They'll literally pack up their tools and leave.
Yeah, no, I hear it. You gotta motivate.
You gotta
You gotta
diplomat.
show them the speed.
Yeah, you gotta be a diplomat down anywhere else for sure. But
that's something
yeah,
with me and with Bobby's like when we get together, he's always like on
I don't stop, man.
like speed 11,
Oh.
and then his
did I lose my video? Hold on.
yeah, and
we still hear you. I'm on
Yeah.
I'm
speed
still here.
12,
I'm
and
still here.
Brian's just like,
Yeah.
he's like speed 6. We'll get there.
yeah, I'm like, hey man, relax,
Just chill.
relax.
I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, yep. You toss the
Just enjoy it, all right.
toss the GPS on so we can get out of the parking lot.
One of my favorite supers down here is from Kentucky.
Yeah.
And he moved down here a couple years ago, just like I did, and he was working for Messer Construction, who's a big, they do billion-dollar projects up there. But same thing. And I love the dynamic because I'm just like so balls to the wall, a million miles an hour, like let's go. He's like, slow down, damn.
So awesome.
But it's one of those things. It's like, just because he talks slow don't mean I'm stupid. like he's one of the most brilliant civil guys that I know, and I'm not a civil guy. Like, especially when it comes down to swamp mud. Like I don't know what the mud's about down here. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I totally trust him, and that's it's all part of what makes construction fun, right? The different characters you meet.
Cali. People actually want to move to Cali, right, Matt?
Is that a thing?
DK says the best compliment I ever received as a foreman was the super telling me he forgot my crew was on the job, ahead of everyone, off the radar, and getting it done. That's the way it is, huh? I like that one. What do we got? There's not only a talent shortage, but a severe work ethic shortage. Bobby, Cali will eat you alive. You don't have to worry about that. I'm not coming to Cali. I do not like Cali. I like the Cali chapter, but Bobby in Cali, I don't like it.
California is another one. I worked in Southern California for a little bit. 100%. Another group of people, like literally people pull in off of a surfboard, like in a wetsuit, change, and then go into a job or go into the office. And a lot of the people, like coming from the Northeast, it's like, dude, you want to grab them by the shoulders and shake them, like come on, like yeah, bro.
Yeah, I couldn't vibe out there. I've been to Cali a couple times, and maybe I went to the wrong parts, but it's not my place. Like the air, I feel like as soon as I land there, like the air is just not what it is up here.
It's different. I mean, a lot of people move back to the East Coast for a reason.
Air quality.
It's just a different vibe. I mean, there's different strokes.
I think Georgia's the best because we get we have all the seasons, and it's never too hot.
Yeah, but you don't get
never
snow.
Too cold.
You don't get all seasons.
I mean,
with snow.
we see it.
You've seen
the snow.
in like 20 years, you had one snowstorm.
Shut everything
down.
shut
the state down.
Shut the plate down.
One plow in the whole
half
state.
an inch. Like we got 8 inches of snow. I'm doing 80 up Route 2.
Well, here's
it's
the thing,
not
though.
stopping
Like
me.
you have you get snow. Like
Snow. Yeah.
Here it's just ice.
There'll be a foot of snow, and the foreman, like you'll be an apprentice. The foreman will be like, "You live in New England, kid. Like you got to deal with that shit. Like I don't know if I'm gonna make it, bro. Like I'm stuck. No, you need to get here. We're all here. Like it's just you deal with the snow up here. It's crazy.
Now it's a completely different vibe to work with, and I have 8 projects in right now. Is Canada.
Oh yeah, what's going on with that? What's the different
So
vibe?
I got Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa.
Because we got a good following in Canada. Like that's probably our biggest after the United States. Canada's our biggest following.
So I think a lot of provinces up there work 410s, which is interesting.
Yep,
yeah, I do remember that.
we hear about that.
Which I would prefer, and I think a lot of trades would probably prefer in places like Boston or New York,
absolutely.
just because the commute sucks
Yeah,
so bad.
but the union guys are all going to be like, my overtime,
Well, yeah.
right? Because everything over
It's-
8 is overtime. So that's where
Can't tell you how many holiday weeks that people wanted to work 410s.
Yeah, right.
And get the long weekend. The
They cheat it when they
the
want
steward,
to.
the shop steward, put the kibosh on it, and then just nobody showed up, and I'm like, all right, so I just lost a day in the schedule because of you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, Canada's a little bit different. Like, I feel like, they got every Monday off or something like that. Like, the press, it's definitely less aggressive, a little nicer. They don't take kindly to the way some people talk to each other in cities like Boston and New York,
I know.
or even in Florida for that matter. Whatever market you step into, you got to realize there's a cultural difference there, and you got to always, again, concentrate on bringing value to people, and not making a point of pulling your prick out and measuring it against somebody else and making
Oh,
them
geez, that's
walk
such
like
a
a
big
duck
problem.
walk like a duck because you're a duck and you think everybody else should be ducks.
Yeah.
Right? Find somebody's strength and fill in their weaknesses.
That's it.
Right?
That's perfectly said. You have to, because not everyone is going to be the same as you.
No.
And not everybody will have the same drive. And like if you're the foreman, like the journeymen aren't going to have the same drive as the foreman, so you have to also anticipate that. Even if you're up in Boston, you
Right.
still got to talk to everybody
100%.
respectfully and work off people's strengths.
100%. You never know when you're going to see somebody else again. You don't know where somebody's going to be later on in their career.
The apprentice
Right?
could be the boss. That's what my father always used to say.
The goal should be to make everybody look good.
I agree.
Make everybody look good, because for me, I made some people look good when I was younger. Well, they're vice presidents now. So when I need a reference or somebody's asking about me, they're asking a vice president.
Boom.
Right. So you got to show respect to everybody. Everyone's there to make a living. Nobody's there to ruin somebody's day.
That's
and
it.
You don't know what's on somebody else's plate. Like my knee-jerk reaction.
Everybody has problems.
My knee-jerk reaction when I have a project manager in some state that I've never even been in, or some foreman somewhere, or some project manager for a subcontractor, and they're not up to snuff, or they're not getting it done like I think they should, my first thing is, what's their workload like? Is this the only project that they're on? Who's managing them? Are they getting set up for success? Are they getting what they need in the field? Or like that? That's what my reaction is now.
That's a good outlook from a GC to have. That's a very good outlook.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, right?
Is their office helping them?
I know what that's like.
Yeah.
Like I know what that's like, right? And you got to be careful when you find this information out, because you don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Like, hey, your guy told me that you guys are screwing him in the field, and you sent him out to do this job without any wrenches. Like, because then they're going to be like, why the fuck did you tell him that? Like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you tell the client that? But it's just so many people that just automatically think the worst. Like, we as humans are conditioned to like naturally think the worst. Like, oh, that guy's just an idiot. That guy just sucks at his job, or he's just a prick and he's there to make me miserable. You know what I mean? Because it's all about like me and the roadblocks that are being put up in front of me, and that's not always the case, right? So if you're thinking about bringing value to other people, that's where that comes in. It's like, oh, this guy's not living up to the level that I need him to. What's the cause? Is it his office? Is it me in the field? Is it his workload? How can I bring value to him to make his life easier and to make him productive in the field? And that's how I found my success as a GC. That's what's worked for me.
I like that.
That's what I would recommend anybody.
That's great. That is a good one. And like, so you're like the poster child of something I always say, is that it's like a business of personalities. Like anybody can do construction. If you go and you join a trade and you focus on it for a year, you should be able to have the grasp of the most of it. But you have to be able to deal with all the different personalities, especially as a foreman. Like everybody's different coming in. You don't know what they're dealing with at home, or if they're tired, or if they're happy. So you just gotta. And you're not only dealing with different personalities. I just deal with Boston personalities, but now you're going all over the country and the world, different countries actually.
Yeah, and I mean, it's almost like being, I was going to say like a politician, but it's more like a sports coach with a bunch of divas that you got to make a locker room in unison, right?
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, I'd say 80% of the business is personalities. It's learning how to deal with people. The most valuable skill that you can get outside of turning a wrench or lighting up a torch or anything, swinging a hammer, is communication. That's the difference, and that's how you rise. If you ever want to leave the field, or I think every sub that we've ever worked with, there's always that guy in the field that's an absolute ace, right? Like absolute genius, smarter than every engineer and every architect and every project manager on the job. He's smarter than everybody else. but he's a complete prick, and you got to put a muzzle on him, and he's not allowed to talk to people, and he's not allowed to talk to the client or a building inspector because of what he might say.
Yeah.
But he's so valuable in his skill. Well, he's valuable, and he's going to make his wage and maybe a few more dollars an hour, right? Higher than the rate, maybe $4 or $5 higher than the rate, and he'll get his overtime. But if you ever want to get into an office position or become an entrepreneur and own your own company, that's not the guy to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You could tell that when you're in a big foreman's meeting too, on like a big Turner job. There's like some guys are just like just over the top. Then in the meeting with all the foremans and all the Turner people, and then there's like just that one guy that's just over the top, fucking.
Yeah, and as my job as a project manager, I try to just let him blow his steam, like whatever. Just let him say whatever he's gonna say.
Yeah, exactly.
Let it roll off your back.
That's what they do.
Like, I'm in charge here, and I take everything that he said with a grain of salt. Just let him do his thing.
That's it. That's awesome. So we got 5 minutes left. I'm gonna fly to the city after this. I gotta go do a shutdown. Make it happen, save some lives,
Yeah.
So we could appreciate you coming on, and also adjusting the time, so I can work. And we've been trying to do
better
this
for me, man. My bedtime's 8:30, so I'm good. I wake up at 4, so I'm good.
Strict 8:30, huh?
I try to. I run at 4, so.
Oh, you run? Yeah, I see you running
My
videos.
dog. Yeah.
Brian's really into working out. He's trying to get me to go to the gym when we're at conference. I'm like, just wake me up when you're done, Bubs. I'm gonna sleep in a little bit. I'm not there yet.
I was just trying to get to sleep. We barely slept.
I know, and you're trying to like work out. I'm like, we don't have time to sleep, bro. There's not time to work out. You can work out when you get back to goddamn Georgia.
But I was exhausted. I tried to work on that Monday, but I was dead. Just dead.
Yeah, you were down there making videos. I seen you.
So what's the next trip for you guys? When is Bobby and Brian getting back together again?
June.
Yeah, June.
NFPA in Orlando. You should show up.
Oh,
we could probably get you
interesting.
in. So it's it's right in Bonnet Creek again, right? I think it's at the same venue, the Hilton, the Signia by Hilton at Bonnet Creek.
Same one.
But if not, it's in Orlando somewhere, NFPA, and then the one after that will be AFSA in Denver in September.
Denver, Colorado.
Unless someone wants to invite us to Intersect in Dubai, you're just saying we'd be available for that.
I'm sure you could get somebody. we gotta get your followers up. Somebody will send you there.
Someday, right, Bri?
Yeah. That's right. One day we'll go.
What were you gonna say?
No, I'm just saying.
Like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I mean, that's a big thing in the industry. Like, I grew up going to NEMCA meetings, Mechanical Contractor Association meetings. I travel with my dad all the time. And those conferences and things, like, those are some of the most fun events that you can go to as an adult. Like, you get in this industry and you go to some hotel and you do a trade show and you're talking shop with all these people, and then you go hang out with them afterwards and you get in dinner and you're meeting people from all over the world, and you're drinking beers with them, and it's just such a cool environment to network in. And it's something to look forward to. And it's a side of the business that a lot of young people don't realize when it's just boots and jeans. Like, there's cool business trips to go to too.
Yeah, so we're trying to get people to, like, because anybody can go. Like, you could sign up right now. Anybody watching, go to nfpa.org and sign up and get yourself what do you want? You want an attendee badge or an exhibitor? You want an exhibitor badge for June, and you meet us in there. We'll be in there. Just lock it down now. If you start planning now, everybody has ample time to get all their trips situated, and that's what we're gonna do.
I might be a little busy in June, but all right. I would love to go.
Yeah, we'll touch base as it gets close. Oh, here's Fire Sprinkler Guy. Actually, I think he's coming on. You're coming on the 3rd, right? He says, good to see the GC filling in those gaps of communication on these projects. Ferencio says, thank you.
I'm putting that on my resume.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, yeah, we got Canada, Wayne Harris from here. He says, we observe holiday on Monday if it falls on Saturday or Sunday. We do that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do that too up here. I think if it.
You know what I'm extremely jealous of those people in Canada is, and I just heard it this week, they get 2 Thanksgivings. They get to observe their Thanksgiving, which is like next week or this week sometime. And they do the American one too.
Oh my God, I never knew that. There's a lot of stuff we learn about Canada every time we come on here. I seen a Canada goose begging for change at a red light on my way home today. You'll never see an American eagle doing that.